Today, we are going to be showcasing a very hardworking mom in business. We're going to talk about my top three things that I feel every uh, business professional mom should know, and that is finances, relationships, and most importantly, how to maintain balance in
Mhm.
order to survive motherhood, especially during the early years.
Oh, the first five are the hardest by far. Well, they're different hard, but they're hard.
Well, Kat, tell us a little bit about you, and then tell us about your programs and how it
Sure,
relates to motherhood.
sure. I am a Jane of all trades, if you will. This is my third career, unless you count motherhood, in which case my fourth. I started in film. I worked in film for 18 years. I did about 40 something movies. I worked at Fox, I worked at Disney, I worked at Warner Brothers, I did independents. And then I tried to have, I didn't try, I had a family, and the company I was working with at the time had an issue with me taking maternity leave. It was not a pleasant transition, if we will. It was rather rough, and we parted ways. And the result of that transition led me down a path where I ended up becoming a financial advisor. And I did that for 6 years. I closed that practice, but during that, I had a lot of clients ask me if I was a coach. And they would ask me if I was a life coach. And I'm like, what does a life coach do? And when I looked into a life coach, it was like so broad, I couldn't wrap my brain around it. But through that research, I found business coaching, and I was like, oh, well, now this I get. This is strategy, and this is pipelines, and this is simplifying, and this is mindset. I'm like, I can sink my teeth into this. And through that whole journey of learning to coach and do all of that, and then gathering all the information I needed, reading, workshops, certifications, all that fun thing. And being a mom at the time of two. I'm a mom of two humans, currently almost 8 and 10, and two fur babies, 4 and 12-ish, we're guessing. They're both rescues, so I don't know exactly. But I ended up creating Mariposa Mastermind. And Mariposa Mastermind was what I needed when I transitioned from the film industry to being a forced stay-at-home mom to being a working mom and going back into finance. But I needed support. So when I took the coaching and the business and all of that, I created Mariposa Mastermind to help women that are transitioning from being career business women to career business moms. And we do it through a free online community. We do it through a video series that you can do at your own pace, at your own time at 3 a.m. or whatever. And we do it through small group masterminds. And the small group mastermind is getting people that are in one of two tracks. So if you are an entrepreneur or business owner, you're going to be grouped together with other entrepreneurs and business owners. If you want to be a director, a VP, or you want to head into the C-suite, meaning you want to be a chief of whatever, chief operating officer, chief people person, people come up with a lot of interesting new chiefs these days. But if you want to go that track, you'll be grouped with other women that are on that track. And we put you together in small groups, and you learn tips, tricks, tools, techniques. You do what's called a hot seat, and you will sit and say, oh my God, this is my problem. And you group think and you group solve, and you become accountability partners for each other, and you get yourselves through that year and hopefully grow and create new friendships and all that fun stuff.
Wow, that
That's what I
that
do.
sounds that sounds incredible already. And it's interesting that for me, I started my community of moms because I couldn't find a community of moms that suited my personal need at the time, which was during the pandemic when like everything seemed like it was
Yes.
never going to open again. And it was just me and my husband and our brand new baby. We did the home birth model for the first
Oh, that's a
one,
beautiful thing.
and it was dreamy and all of that gooey stuff you could imagine. Everybody's like holding the brand new baby. And it's interesting that I felt like nobody could even prepare me in spite of reading all the books about what to expect for pregnancy. And I don't know if the pandemic exasperated the
Oh, for sure.
fact that I was forced now to get to really know my husband a little bit more than I wanted to. Hey, come on now. Having a baby, it's intimate for
Yeah.
you and your spouse, but it's even more intimate when it's just you and your spouse. And now he's gonna really see the full scope of what he married, right?
True, true.
The crazy. I mean, I remember what my
Yeah, I mean, your hormones go nuts.
the
So,
hormones, but I felt like nobody told me about the boob thing. Okay.
mm,
And the birthing was great, everything. But when that first supply of milk came in, woo, mm, my boobs
no,
got like
yeah.
10 times, and I was flat chested, and they look like basketballs. And my husband was like, "Are they gonna stay like that?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me, man?"
You're like, no, this is not comfortable. I get you might like it, but this is not comfortable. Back off.
I mean, I'm just sharing that just to bring some humor into what we do
Uh,
here every day. And this is why I'm so happy when I get like really excited when I meet a mom and just fighting for the community as a whole, because as we go along the journey, we learn that this is not, they say it takes a village to raise a kid. And
mm,
I keep saying it takes a village to restore mom as well. Hello. Let's not
100%.
forget about the captain of the ship. Well, not the captain. I say we are the ship, right?
Yeah.
Because if the ship goes down, it's over.
We're taking everybody with us.
Yes, ma'am.
And not because we're like trying to, it's just because they're on the boat.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think too in our culture and society, I see that there are a lot of programs. And if you could just speak to what or how could a mom identify what would be the right program for her? Because the doctor office offer a program, the
Mm,
government offer a program. Like if you could just give a little tip into that.
yeah. So when I first had my kids, the programs that I could find and come across, none of them, they were for all very segmented things. So there was something for breastfeeding. There was something for new moms with newborns. So once your baby crossed the 3 months, they stopped. There were things for hospital births. So you could meet other moms that had babies around the same time at the hospital. There are programs for low income moms. There are programs for teen moms. There are programs for you could go do baby and me classes, which
Mm-hmm.
aren't necessarily a program, but like a way to meet people. But what I struggled finding was a program that addressed me as a human, as a whole human, and not me as somebody who's currently breastfeeding, or me as somebody who currently has a newborn, but after 3 months no longer qualifies. I'm like, I still have the baby. The baby's
Mm-hmm.
still there. I still need to figure out how to keep a roof over its head and clothes on and food and all of those things. Like they don't just go away. They're
Mm-hmm.
still there. And I couldn't find a program that made me feel, all of me feel seen. There is a mom's group I joined in LA that was like my saving grace for 6 years. I'm still a part of the group, and it was an Atwater Village Moms group, which is where I used to live in the Silver Lake area of LA. And they were amazing, and it was just a huge mix of moms. So um, it wasn't just working moms, it wasn't just stay-at-home moms. It was every mom under the sun. I mean, there was everybody in there, which was great. But then I didn't necessarily want to bring any of those issues that came up with, like I came up against when it came to work, because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to make stay-at-home moms feel
Guilty.
invalidated somehow. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to create a platform where I would get rained on for being for wanting to go back into my a professional capacity. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the term working mom. And we talked about this a little earlier because whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you go the professional track, you're
Mm-hmm.
always working. Like you don't take the mom hat off ever. Like maybe your responsibilities as a mom become a little less when your kid's in daycare or in elementary school or in school somehow, but they're still going to call you first if anything goes wrong. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
still mom.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like that working mom term, but you know, when you want to go back to that professional capacity, I didn't want to expose myself to like people wouldn't be intentionally mean, but it's hard to read tone and feeling and emotion on the internet. So you can take things really personally. So I would do general parenting issues, travel and all that fun stuff in that group, but I didn't address that working capacity. Like, okay, well, now that I have a kid, how do I still feel present when I'm with my baby, but also not guilty at work? How do I not feel overwhelmed from the fact that my job, especially when I was in film, was 12 hours a day?
Mm.
You know, like how do I balance all of these things and keep my sanity? And where am I supposed to get me time because a bubble bath ain't gonna cut it? Like that's not for me. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a time and place for them, but to refill my cup, I need a lot more than a bubble bath. Um, I mean, here's my coffee and it's only lukewarm right now. So like that whole I need to go warm this up is very present. But you know, que sera, sera.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Kat, because it is truly a different experience when you find someone that can relate, right?
Yeah,
And it wasn't even interacting with family members. I found that it wasn't a relatable conversation. I could see their eyes just glaze over when I'm speaking about certain things that I'm experiencing, and it got me frustrated, and I felt like it wasn't fair to them
yeah,
for me to impose how they should be treating me at that time because no one is a mind reader, right? So
100%.
if I did share my needs and it was pushed aside or downplayed, and I think most couples experience this as well, which is probably a whole other conversation in itself because I don't know, I could be honest, I did not see my spouse in the same light. And it was some things I just did not want to share with him, and I turned to YouTube.
Yeah.
Hey, I did not want to, because you're thinking, when you first meet or start dating and stuff, there's things you do to attract your spouse or significant other, right? And
Mhm.
when after that time pass and then you have a baby and your body changes, it's like, man, where do we go from
Where do we
here?
go from here?
You don't want
Where
to
do we go
like,
from here?
but they say they want we want to eat the cake. We don't want to know like how it's made and all that fancy stuff.
Right.
But it
Right.
one of those things in times when you look for a community, and which is why we do have a great community here, and we are going to dive deeper and have more conversations surrounding this subject. So Kat, we will get together again. And also, since you're part of our mompreneur community, folks know where to find you if they're watching this. And this is just the beginning of another great conversation and another great community that you can
Yes.
connect to find support from moms in your area. So thanks for sharing your information with us, Kat.